So Sutra 121, and there's just this verse. To the keen and intent practitioner, this, which is samadhi, comes very quickly. So 122, I don't know why I keep saying 2. Kind of continues, well, they all flow into each other, but 1.22 says, the time necessary for success further depends on whether the practice is mild, medium, or intense. And there's really no additional reading to it, like it's not discussed. Oh, Ashley's coming in. Hi, Ashley. Oh, she's still connecting. We just read Sutra 1.21 and 22. To the keen and intent practitioner, this, samadhi, comes very quickly. And 22 says, the time necessary for success further depends on whether the practice is mild, medium, or intense. And this is not discussed any further in here. So I'm going to read from a translation from Yoga International. And here it is considered the victory over the mind. And then it says, is close to those with intense desire. It is very close to those who are charged with the highest degree of intense desire. And even that intensity could be mild, intermediate, or supreme. A burning desire to attain mastery over the mind is the first and most essential attribute of a seeker. Behind any accomplishment, there is always a force, desire. Here, Patanjali invests 2 sutras simply to inform us that we must have a strong desire to achieve mastery over the mind and its modifications. Remember, sutra form demands that every word be absolute essential. Using even one extra word compromises the value of the text. Patanjali could have compressed the content of these 2 sutras in one word. I don't know if I'm going to say this right. Mumuksanam, which means those who intensely desire freedom. Appended it to the previous sutra and saved space. But he did not make a mistake. By dedicating 2 full sutras to this point, Patanjali emphasizes the crucial importance of the desire for attaining victory over the mind. This cannot be given, it can only be earned. Behind any accomplishment, there's always a force, desire. The strength of your desire determines how easily you will attain your goal. It determines how easy it will be to overcome obstacles when they arise and indicates what kind of aspirant you are. The lowest grade aspirants are those who desire to gain self-mastery and attain victory over the mind, and its modifications has sparked a curiosity to explore that possibility. This is a mild degree of desire, and it can be extinguished quite easily. I think Adriana's having issues getting in because she just texted me. There we go. This is a mild degree of desire, and it can be extinguished quite easily by fear or failure. Hi, Adriana.
Good morning.
We read 121 and 122, and now I'm reading from Yoga International. The spark is too small to propel them forward. Such people know the value of achieving the higher goal of life. They wish to attain it, but they do not have enough motivation to really start. They enjoy daydreaming. The intermediate grade of aspirants are those endowed with a higher degree of intense desire, but one that is still most powerful enough to carry them through. They start their quest with great enthusiasm, but when confronted with obstacles, they drop it in disappointment. The highest grade aspirants are those endowed with a supremely intense desire, a desire that has consumed all other desires. Such aspirants see nothing other than the goal and will settle for nothing other than what they have set out to achieve. This is a burning desire. It is smokeless fire that consumes all obstacles, including fear of death. For aspirants of this category, the goal is within arm's reach. In the language of the mystics, turn your face, you're there. Anyone has anything to add? We talked about.
I feel like these are the sutras that you do. You know, there's not that much to talk about them. You just have to like be in them.
Was it yesterday? I don't know. Like one day this last week, I think we talked about something. Like to be able to show up and continue the practice, like the constant practice, the showing up.
Yes, because you will run out of. This was yesterday, I think, where it will get hard. There will come a point where you're like, I'm sitting, but I'm just daydreaming, or I'm falling asleep, and those times will come where I think it was yesterday. Like the moment will come where this will be hard, and you will need your discipline, your faith to get you through.
Yesterday we covered faith, strength, and courage to be able to go,
to be able to continue.
Yeah. And I think we can all relate to that right now.
Yeah.
At a seriously deep level.
Mm-hmm.
But it also makes me think of the importance of self-care, because if we start with a complete blast and not find, you know what I mean? Like if you're doing like intense, crazy asana and getting up at 4 a.m. every day and then not going to bed, getting up at 4 a.m. every day to meditate, but then not having the discipline to go to bed early enough so the body gets enough rest, then at some point you'll burn out and you will not be able to continue. So like having also the discipline to slow down and include self-care so you don't completely burn out.
I was just reading, I keep logging in as Revolution Yoga. I keep forgetting to switch my login, but I was just reading from one of the other translations. And I was just thinking of what you said, Micheline, on how you were reading from book 2, and you're like, oh, it's so simple. But sometimes these sutras, like, it'll be one line, and I'll be like, God, but it's so confusing. What are they saying? And then I'll read it, a translation. I'm like, oh, yeah, it makes so much sense. And I think it just means, even outside of the yoga world, just whatever it is you want to achieve, just putting your mind to it, being completely immersed in it. And at the end of this one, at the end of the translation for 1.22, this book says practice should be balanced by non-attachment. And I know for me, I think that's like a huge part of it. Like keep showing up. And I always use forearm stand as my example. Like sometimes I still don't have it and it's been like 10 years, you know, like, but I still practice it. And it could translate to anything else in my life. Just don't worry about what the outcome is. Just keep doing it.
Yeah, I think that's important for me because I have a tendency to, you know, the idea of burning zeal, you know, in your practice. I have a tendency to overdo it if I go there. I've hurt myself physically by overdoing it in the past. And I can get so rigid with practice and with routine and with I have to do it this way, and so I have to be very careful with the idea of this, of, you know, levels of trying kind of thing, because I can't go there because it just isn't good for me. I know that about myself. And I really have to always take a step back and not push myself, because I go too far. I go too far in that zeal for perfectionism. And if yoga's taught me anything, it's that don't aim for being perfect. You know, because that's been my life, and it just causes you problems. And so I always have to try to step back, pull back, and understand that for me, burning zeal does not mean pushing myself harder. I just show up. Just keep showing up. That's it.
It comes down, like for me, it comes down to showing up every day in whatever form it is for that day, because sometimes you just can't. And sometimes acceptance. I think acceptance is so important, to be able to accept that today is really hard and I just can't. It doesn't mean I'm giving up. It means just for today, it's okay to rest. And tomorrow I'll show up again in, whatever. And like not losing, it's a journey.
Mm-hmm. And not beating yourself up when you don't make the goal that you've set for yourself, because that's another thing that is a rabbit hole that you can go down.
Mm-hmm.
On Saturday, I didn't wake up for I was awake for sadhana, and I always take Jodi's class, and I was laying in bed, I'm like, I just didn't want to. And then I was talking to someone later on that day, and I'm like, I didn't do my yoga, but I was doing yoga all day. And so I think maybe that's what they're saying too. Like, the samadhi practice doesn't have to be just a yoga thing. It could be when you're doing the dishes or folding laundry or just sitting on the couch. If you're completely present, it just carries throughout your whole day. And I'm seeing it more and more as I begin to practice this.
Well, in this translation I read from, samadhi is taken as controlling the mind. So if your mind Saturday was beating you up because you were on the couch and whatever, and you didn't do your yoga on your mat, and you were able to like get past that.
Well, that's what I mean. I wasn't even beating myself up. I was like, no, I was proud of myself. I'm like, listen to myself. I didn't beat myself up. I was like, I did exactly what I needed. And I'm like, this is what I'm looking for.
Good.
You know what? I just, guys, I just saw this. It says you have been trained for this for years by either your own intention and self-improvement or by grace. And so you are stronger than you think and better equipped to deal with this than you could possibly know. So even though we are always struggling with things, it's always self-realization that we're doing the best you can. And even though we're going through things, we're still doing every day what we're supposed to do. So I was talking to a friend of mine from Mexico, and things are bad there. And she does yoga also. And she said, to always, you're still going, you're still doing, you're still functioning. And sometimes it's hard because our regular lives are a little deviated, but the actual things that we do every day, we still do. And we're strong people. And we're centering ourselves for what we have around, rather than focusing around what the world has to do for us, is like what we do for other people or other things. So that's how I'm seeing. And my family have gotten closer, and we're tolerating each other, we're loving each other, and that's also work. Everything we do, we work on things, and we're strong women. And I think very special what we have become aware or in contact with or whatever. So we're great. We're doing everything.
Yeah. I'm with you, Diane. For me, I'm every day remembering that I'm doing it. Like sometimes I'm only on the mat for active asana. I don't know, maybe not a full hour, maybe not the full 90 minutes, but I'm showing up every day and finding hours to walk around the lake where there's not a lot of people. So on some days I walk from 6 to 7. And it's like, okay, this is this is my medicine. Like walking around the lake is like a dose of what I need every day. And it's like, okay, maybe I'm not doing XYZ, but I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And this is good for me, and this is helping.
You guys don't understand Spanish, but my friend that is very connected said that the first steps, they don't take you anywhere. Los primeros pasos no te llevan donde quieres ir. The first steps, they don't take
you where you want to go.
Pero te sacan de donde estás. But it take you away from where you are. The important thing is the first step, and after is to continue doing the steps to not leave you where you were.
Yeah.
It's huge.
That's beautiful, Diane.
It's in Spanish. I'm trying to translate it.
Yeah, you can tell me in Spanish. I understand.
Yeah, I understand.
Oh, so I'm going to read it in Spanish and then you will hear it. Los primeros pasos no te llevan a donde quieres ir, pero te sacan de donde estás. Lo importante es dar el primer paso y después seguir dando pasos para no estancarte. So basically, you keep doing the steps so you don't get stuck on where you are. So the first step that you do is the most important thing because you keep doing it and you don't get stuck. And then, like we said, this morning I woke up at 6:15 to be able to be in class at 6:30. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not getting in. And then Michelini goes, no, it's 7:30. I'm like, but I stood in my living room waiting for something to happen. And I called the yoga place. Nobody called me back. I'm like, okay, what's wrong with my phone? With my computer. And I took a picture. I'm like, wait, I'm supposed to be in here. And he said, internal error, server connection terminated. I'm like, internal error? No, I don't have internal error. I want to continue. So even the stupid computer is telling me, hey, you have an error, internal error. I'm like, no. And it was funny because I can internalize it. Like, no, I am not internal error. I like you say, you make mistakes. I was talking to my friend yesterday and I was saying how I beat myself for doing things, wrong things and making mistakes. And
yeah.
No, you can't beat yourself up for that because that's who you are right now. And the things that we encounter and the difficulties we encouraging is like, no, it gets us stronger and happier. So last time I was part of this meditation, I didn't talk about anything. I was just sitting there listening and getting it in. And now I'm talking, and I usually don't like to talk in public, but it is encouraging because the strength that you gain, the internal strength to be able to share with you guys and to be part of something is just very, very special. So the personal growth that I have encountered, the little steps that I have made, it has been a major step. So you just have to believe that you can do things, and we all have accents, and we always have, we don't speak like public speakers, but when you speak with love and internal gratitude, things come out beautifully. So that's what I believe. So thank you.
That's true.
Thank you for sharing, Diane.
I think that's exactly what the sutra is saying. It's like, it's emphasizing the intention behind your practice. And I think that means outside of just what you're doing on the mat, what is your intention behind everything that you do? So if you can carry a divine intention, or if you can draw your awareness to have a divine intention behind everything that you do, then the results are, then eventually you'll achieve that bliss. So I think it's like I think to what you guys are saying, like punishing yourself, and a lot of us do that, but it's like, is that we like punishing ourselves for not doing, being able to accomplish something on the mat or something like that. Like I was working with an injury last year that was pretty serious, and I couldn't do so much of what I could do before. And I remember at the beginning of my practice, like it was so hard for me to sit down to do a practice at all, because I would be so discouraged by the limitations that I had, that I would just want to quit. And I would just have this voice in my head every time I sat down on the mat, just telling me like, this is pathetic, like you can't do anything. And then you start being in pain. And then it was like this whole thing that it took me so long to be able to just sit. And at first it was just sitting because I felt like I was so immobilized by this voice that I was listening to all the time. But I realized that in just sitting and being witness to what the voice was trying to say to me and just saying, I'm going to sit here anyway, was like the thing that I needed. I put a divine intention to sit down to heal, regardless of whatever was going to come up. And that, I feel like, was when I really started practicing yoga. Like before that, if you're just, reading books and doing your asana, that's all great. But what a real intentional practice is a lot more than that. It's your whole life. It's everything that you do. And if you have negative intentions behind the way that you're talking to yourself or the way that you're doing anything, or if you have just unaware intentions behind what you're doing, it's a lot harder for you to achieve peace.
I think, Ashley, I think the word unaware is so important, because we can show up and have, all these things in our head, in our mind that we're going to do. And then there's this lingering, whatever it might be. It might be like clinging to the result of whatever we're showing up for, or intense fear that we don't acknowledge, and it's there, and that totally holds us back. You had me thinking about when, I think, has it been a month already that we've been on? I think it's been over a month that we've been on Zoom, when we first went on Zoom. And most of us, like I've talked with Pam, I've talked with Adriana, most of us did not want to teach online. It's weird, it's awkward. None of us knew what we were doing, but we all had like pretty much the same line. This is not about me. It's not about how I'm going to sound or how I'm going to look teaching on a camera, or the fact that I hate listening to my voice or watching myself on camera. It's about yoga is needed right now. It's needed more than ever. And like we all had to push and get past that. And now we still have this community going. Thank you, Amanda, for getting it rolling.
Yeah, and hopefully it will stay. These morning talks are amazing.
Yeah.
Very, very nourishing.
I agree.
What time is it? We have about 5 minutes. If anyone else wants to add anything, even if it doesn't have to do with the specific.
Whatever. I could share something. I always tell my children, I listen to different lectures. So they're like, no, I don't want to listen. So I said, take what you need and leave the rest. So what Ashley was saying is that you just have to just want to move forward. It's always a room to improve. And no matter, even like you're lying on the yoga and you're doing, what am I doing here? It doesn't matter, because the fact that you're there is more than what you did yesterday or what you were going to did a week ago. That's what I'm feeling, is that, it is hard to wake up early, but I said to my husband, you know what, I'm going to wake up early and I'm going to do this, and because I wanted to do it Sunday, and I couldn't do it. And I said, you know what, this week I'm going to make an effort to be part of the group, part of the uplifting moment. And my friend that is a yogi person said that when you start in the morning meditation, it's very, very important in the morning. You can do it at night also, she said, but in the morning, the meditation lifts you up the whole day, right? It gives you a good morning pump, and then you're pumped and excited and whatever the whole day. When you do it at night, it is wonderful, but you're going to bed. So it's kind of like lost somewhere, right? Because nobody's sharing that feeling. Nobody's like, oh yes, I'm so peachy and happy. And I remember that.
Bless you.
Bless you? Who's sneezed?
Sorry.
Bless you. I didn't hear. So anyway, so the idea is to start with a good attitude. And I remember going to work, being happy and whatever. And they're like, hey, by the way, my second name is Ceci. So people call me Ceci. So they go, hey, Ceci, I want to have what you're having, because I was like in such a high. And I just love people and I love being in a good mood. And this is helping me in a different state, not only being in encounter with people and being happy with doing what I do, but also internally to overcome the different difficulties that I have dealing with certain issues. And it has made me more aware of how I deal with people rather than just like internalizing it, rather than just saying, oh, I'm happy with this because I like what I do, but it's just internal growth. So God bless us that we should continue growing and starting in the left foot, no, right foot, and showing how amazing this practice is and how we can have a beautiful day and share the beautiful day with other people.
Yeah.
Thank you, Diane.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Well, it's almost 8, so we can do some breath work. If no one else has anything to add. So we'll do breath work and then we'll settle into meditation. I'll set the timer for 20 minutes and I'll mute everyone. If anyone needs to leave, that's okay. You can set your own timer so you're not distracted checking the time. So just settling wherever you need to be this morning. If you need to shut off lights. Coming to a comfortable seat, whatever that is for you. If you need to be laying down or maybe legs up the wall, and just closing the eyes. And just taking a few breaths here. Just allowing yourself to feel the ground beneath you, or a chair or a couch if you're sitting on one, or your bed if you're laying down on your bed. Feel the extension of the lungs and the torso from the navel upward as you inhale through the nose. Feel the chest dropping, ribcage dropping, navel squeezing in and up towards the spine as you exhale completely. Keep that breath flowing for 5 more rounds. Inhaling deeply and fully, putting effort behind it to fully expand. Exhaling completely. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling deeply. Inhale deeply. Exhale. One more full round of breath like that. Inhale fully, expand, expand, expand. Exhale deeply. Squeeze the navel in and up, really squeeze everything out. And then let the breath become softer. And we'll take a few moments to scan through the body. Maybe the back of the legs. Maybe around the hips or the lower back. Maybe the shoulders, around the neck. Any tightness anywhere, acknowledge it. Direct your breath into whatever space you need to direct your breath through. The skin on your face, if it's tight, allow it to soften. Maybe you're clenching your jaw muscles, allow that to release. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling. Maybe if you feel like you need to create a little movement through the neck or the shoulders, just to release any tightness, allow yourself to take that for a couple of breaths. Allowing yourself to really, really feel this morning. tightness, tension, heaviness, whatever it is that might be coming up for you, acknowledge it. Breathe into it. We'll find 4 more breaths to play with. If you're creating movement through the neck, allow yourself to come back to center. And we'll take 6 rounds of alternate nose breathing. So sitting up nice and tall, shoulders soft, stacked above the hips, ears stacked above the shoulders, bringing the right hand up, closing the right nostril with the right thumb, inhaling deeply through the left. Right ring finger to the left nostril, close, exhaling right. Inhaling right. Close and hold. Exhaling left. Inhaling left. Close and hold. Exhaling right. Inhaling right. Hold. Exhaling left. Taking 4 more rounds at your own pace. Once you get to that 6th round, if you're not already there, allow yourself to finish with a deep exhale to the left nostril. And then allowing yourself to drop in to your meditation. No rush getting there. Let the breath soften.
Gently bring the hands to the heart center. Take a deep, deep inhale. Exhale, side out to the mouth. Let it go.